unkept bed. And this is a video of it. And this is still that same video. Once upon a time now it's still my bed. And this, my bed, it's actually the complete opposite side of my room. Just in case you did want to see my bed. And if you didn't like those, then maybe you'd like some of these. You know? All these different types of beds. And this is positioning it above my bed. I'm sure anybody could think of 1,000 reasons to have something like this in their home. I like this one the best because of the stone statue. Brief backstory. I was using Touch Designer and I was over here just like, plugging in a GIF and opening up a little preview window and then trying to line that up with my ceiling. And I was like, no. This would be way easier to just program in Python and have a little button to cycle through, which became, the coolest program ever. But just to show some basic functions, let's say I were to want to render a video. First off, ComfyUI is directly built into the program. So you can open up an output log and start it up. Once the program's done starting up, obviously you will get a little green confirm, and our API file will also open up. This can be coded out, but I like to have it open up just so that I can, sometimes you like to look at your API file. But just like to break it down really quickly, we just have like a base image, right? So whatever image is actually over here is going to be going into our load image, just a path, which then gets processed through control nets, both depth and line. We have a link to LM Studio, which is for Llama here. So that's going to generate our prompt. However, if we do want to, we can turn on this prompt, which will then send a prompt to LM Studio. So we can put a prompt in here, which will send a prompt to our Llama, which will actually construct our prompt for us. So it'll take whatever we write here. So let's say we write fire. It will take the script, or it will take fire and create an expert prompt, or a more detailed prompt for us. After that, it gets processed through our K-sampler, which the image is then output. We actually put it through another LLM. This is Qwen, which can diagnose images. You then get a prompt from that, which we can use for our clip prompt. Right? So what happens is we make an image of our image that we take. We diagnose the image, and then we create a video. So that's how the backend works. The front end, you have obviously some previous and next buttons. You have a camera, which we can pop up so that we can take a photo. As you can see, the camera works. And when we take a photo, that photo then goes down into here. When we send it, it will send to our workload, right? Then to our API file, and run the sequence. Yeah, so here you can see we are just changing some of the values in the workflow, right? So when we have our buttons clicked, custom prompt obviously is prompt that is going in goes into Llama. So our prompt from here, if we decide to type something here, we could do fire. It's going to run itself through Llama, which will then go into our prompt. Becomes a condition, right? Our positive condition. We run through multiple control net layers, one of depth and the other one of line, right? If we want to, we could also turn on these controls, in which we have sliders that will edit our strength for our weights, right? As well as our CFG scale for our initial image. Over here. Then obviously we just have a carousel here. For being able to select an image, you can also browse an image, right? So you can browse an image to put into there. And we'll just send a file. You see the llama mounted very quickly and demounted. You'll see that when it finishes, when it completes the image, you will see that it will pass back into here. You will see this, that our model will then try to mount, right? Look when it's mounting. Got the prompt, sends it back. And once it's done, it will auto-upload there. And there's our image. Now, I don't know how much if we overlaid it, it would overlap with some of this, but if I wanted to, I can full screen it by hitting F. That is actually this monitor, which is made to put on a projector monitor. So whatever you're trying to project on, take a photo of said object, point the projector at it, line it up right, and project onto it. Now I'll show you some other demos. This is like going through alternate realities. So check it out. Pretty cool. Alright, look at that. That's pretty cool. Also, you have the ability to obviously customize the prompt. So if I did want to add something like fire, for example, something a little bit more of like a different topic. Flames, fireballs, explosions. I like how it added a lady in the background right there. On top of my poster. So it's interesting. Especially because I'm pretty sure that I have in the negative prompt to not have a person, but obviously if it sticks one into the positive prompt, that one looks nice. I like that. There's some like weird mechanical stuff going on there. I still love how it's making this poster into like a portal, like a portal within itself. Cool though that it makes like the top of my ceiling into like the sky though. Like that looks so cool. Like it's like a window into another reality. You can keep track of this line right here at the top of my screen right here. As we then turn on our lights, right? So this separation line of the colors of my wall. So you see the white on top here, you see this here, and when we turn it off, I mean, come on, man, you can't say that shit isn't cool. That shit's cool. That shit's cool. All right. And obviously you could do this with like photos, you know, but having a little bit of movement is nice. So, I was going to implement an image mode. I haven't quite done that completely, but you know, the image mode could be so quickly, you could do it so quick, as opposed to this. Obviously, you have movement. It might take a few seconds. It might take like a minute, something like that. But the results of having movement on the wall, I think, is a more compelling kind of thing. Obviously, you could break this down even to more sub-processes, right? Like, in theory, you could break down even the process of processing like each section of the wall into sub-processes, right? In which case, you could then be able to do some generative objects type stuff. And, you know, I mean, the list goes on in terms of being able to capture data like this and being able to transform it, you know, whether it be through imaging or through video. Anywho. Whoa. Put some like firemen on the wall there. Background. Cycle through some of these that it generated just now. And obviously, I have a button so that, you know, auto cycle through these can. So it's on a 10-second timer, but obviously that timer can be increased or decreased. But whenever the new one shows up on our cycle, you'll see in a moment that it's about to finish, and then it goes to our next one. Yeah. So, also obviously there are ways of controlling said video as well. So there are more detailed controls, just in case, you know, for anybody that does understand these certain phrases, like CFG scale, right? It's going to be the amount that our prompt is influencing our output. So let's say if I were to turn up my CFG scale super high, we're all of a sudden probably going to get something that's a lot more intense. This is the one that's going to be influenced by the CFG scale, I think. Oh, wow. That's actually crazy. Like, you can't even see this poster. You literally cannot see that poster. It turned it into like a wall, like an opening in a wall. Right? So now it's like something completely different. Observe the top area. Right? Ooh, wow. I put fish on that guy. There's like a school of fish. Could be a little bit hard to see. Wording, actually, no, you can see it. Let's kind of blow this up for a second, just so that you guys can see. So, you can see how the separation in the video and separation in the environment. Wow, that one looks cool. Nice. Very cool. You want your Winterland, you want your Halloween festivals. That's insane. That's crazy. Whoa. That one's nuts. Behind me. Wow. That's kind of creepy. Ooh, that's cool. Ooh, that's kind of scary. It generated like a figure in a doorway there. I think what our best bet would be might be to actually I'm going to like put stuff I'm going to point the camera down because my bed is actually right here and it's totally unmade, which is kind of part of what I want to show is the fact of like it doesn't need to be like organized information, right? Like it does not. So that's what we'll show. Unorganized information into organized information. Okay, unorganized bed with an appa on it from Avatar The Last Airbender. All right, let us shift gears into creating a bed with it on it. I don't know if turning it from this perspective would actually help. Obviously, from this angle, it might look like a little bit of unorganized information as well, but if you look at it from a certain perspective, obviously. So now all of a sudden, we got ourselves a messy bed that looks kind of cool. That my camera? Oh, my camera kind of captures me a little bit. Hello. So as you can see, we now have a bed that has transformed almost entirely into something else, right? Um we have like just some ancient ruins now, right? Like I mean, oh, messy bed what? Like what are you talking about? What are you even talking about? I'm one of the most beautiful people like there is organization in madness. Regardless. Computer lights off. Ooh, look, it made Appa into like a moss there. You see? Oh, he's like moss. Oh, Appa's kind of like a rock there. That's cool. That's dope. Anywho, I hope you guys like this tech demo. Hope that it shows you guys the infinite possibilities of image processing and video LLMs and automation. And yeah, I hope that, you guys can go develop something as well. Or I guess feel inspired, so to speak.